Good evening. This is the Comic Book Shop of Doom, and I'm your host. If you're under 13, please get parents' permission to watch this video. This isn't made for kids, but, excuse me, I don't need a COPA fine or a fine from YouTube or the government. So I try to keep these videos clean, but just in case if I snark off with a curse word or something. So kids, get your parents' permission. Better yet, watch the video with your mom and dad. You might learn something, and you both might like it. Okay, if I rebooted Marvel Comics, it's one of those, what would happen if? Okay, we know the comic book business is kind of in the gutter right now, and it's fighting its way back from the pandemic. So what I have here is I broke this down. And these are some books that I would just bring back, and I would have like maybe between 30 and 40 books a month in a line, and then everything else I would do digital. So this is what I would do. Okay, my main titles, I would have like the team books here. You got Fantastic Four, Avengers, X-Men, Uncanny X-Men. So you got two X-Men books. You got X-Force and X-Factor. There's your spin-offs. Defenders, I would bring back the Thunderbolts. Defenders, I would do the classic team. Doctor Strange, Hulk, Silver Surfer, Submariner. Two Spider-Man books. Amazing Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man. Then you got his #1 adversary / spinoff Venom. Then you got Thor, Incredible Hulk, Immortal Hulk, because that's a super hit. So Marvel needs all the money they can get. The Guardians of the Galaxy, you'd bring back the New Warriors, but not that new version that they're putting out with Snowflake and Save Space. I would bring back that classic team. Alpha Flight is due for a reboot. Shang-Chi, but this time he's the master of martial arts, and why not? He has a movie coming soon. So you bring him back in the light and make him a known character. Then I would do What If, and that's like basically you could do limited series of these or whatever. It's basically Marvel's version of the Elseworlds books, where it's these characters in different scenarios. Then I would do Marvel Team Up, but what I would do is I wouldn't necessarily make it a Spider-Man book. I would have him in there once in a while, but I would team up people like people you wouldn't normally see team up, like you'd say Cyclops and the Hulk. Wolverine and Moon Knight. Stuff like that, you know, like different characters. Alpha Flight, you could have Sasquatch team up with Hyperion from the Squadron Supreme. Stuff like that. People that normally wouldn't meet, you could have, and you could build characters that way. Okay, the second run of books here, the second line, you got Daredevil, Wolverine, Doctor Strange, Captain America, Iron Man. And then Captain Marvel, because they're making movies of her. Ghost Rider, Deadpool. I would bring back Power Man and Iron Fist, because I like those guys. Those guys are better together than separate. So do Heroes for Hire, Power Man and Iron Fist. You got Moon Knight. You got Ms. Marvel, that newer character. There's a new book. You put the Intergalactic Avengers. So I would have an Avengers title, but I would use all the Avengers that do space stuff. I would bring back Supervillain Team Up, so then you could put two different villains in there together to team up to take on some good guys. That could be a sleeper hit nowadays. Cable, the Scarlet Spider would be a spinoff of the Spider-Man books. You got the New Mutants because they got a movie coming out, and you could always rebuild that. The Champions. Black Widow's got a movie coming out. Winter Soldier and the Falcon have a show coming out, and then I would just do a book called S.H.I.E.L.D., and then when I was doing this, I completely forgot about the Punisher. So I'd probably maybe put a book about him in there. And then here's some books that maybe might not make the cut, where they wouldn't sell actual copies, because these are books that they're actually canceling at the stores. So I would actually do these as a limited series or exclusive to the internet. You got Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Excalibur, War Machine, Darkhawk hasn't been used in a long time. Terror Inc. hasn't been used in a long time. You bring back Power Pack. You got the Black Cat, which that might actually sell copies, so we might have to shift that over to the other side. Bring back Silver Sable. I would use the Space Knights. all the Space Knights they have, they don't have the copyright on ROM anymore, but use the Space Knights. Maybe a Green Goblin or a Doctor Doom series. Even limited series going into the inside of these guys. The Black Knight, the Silver Surfer, Namor the Submariner, Nova, and I would do 2 Nova books. Rich Rider and then Sam Alexander. So you got both of them covered. Rich Rider is long overdue to appear back in comics. You got Wonder Man and Hercules. And then what I would do is I would have one exclusive Spider-Man book just for the internet. And then when I was doing this, I forgot the Blade. So Blade would be in there. Then I would do something like maybe the Vision and a Scarlet Witch. I would bring back Kazar because there's always something you can do with him. And then I would try stuff like Dr. Druid and Captain Universe, who never really had their own comics. Captain Universe was in like Marvel Spotlight, but that's an untapped character. Machine Man I would bring back. I would have the Marvel Zombies, the Sentry, Man-Thing, Avengers Team Up. Why don't they just have 2 Avengers team up every month? You know, since Avengers is like their top title, so I would have different guys. Angela. I don't know if they bought this from Neil Gaiman, you know, the Angela, the Spawn character. Supposedly she's like a half-sister of Thor. So I would do a book on her, or I would do an internet exclusive stuff. And then you got Dazzler and Spider-Woman. I would try something new like Gods of Asgard, where you throw in all the gods of Asgard except for Thor. You could have the Warriors 3 or Baldar the Brave, you know, like almost like an anthology book. And then you got other characters like She-Hulk and Deathlock. Killraven hasn't been used in a long time. And him and Deathlock, you could team them up in like those future books where you could have the War of the Worlds where the Martians invade. I always thought that was a cool premise when they did those in the 70s. You got Falcon, Nomad, U.S. Agent, Thunderstrike. And then you got Werewolf by Night, and you got Tomb of Dracula. So those are like internet exclusives or books you could have limited series. And Comic Collector's Guide at yahoo.com. That's my email. Anybody wants to get a hold of me, contact me with suggestions for different episodes, critique and stuff, whatever. Everybody have a good night.